Hey book girlies, I'm Sarah.
Hey gamer guys, it's Ian.
And you're listening to a pot of sass and sarcasm. All right. How are you? You know what? I'm not gonna start this off asking the normal questions. I don't want people to get bored. How are you? How is Ian doing?
Doing okay. Doing pretty good. Got a little gaming in.
Oh, I'm trying to shake things up, and you're like, no, we are gonna do this the same way every time, and fuck you for trying to fuck that up. All right, what games have you been playing?
I've been playing more Monster Hunter Wilds.
It's been a while since we've recorded. What is that game again?
It's the game where everything's a wyvern.
You said it right.
I can't tell the difference.
What? You can't tell the difference between wyvern and wyvern?
Yeah, no. Not when it's in my mouth.
Gross.
Yeah, I've been playing a little bit more of that, just having some fun. Because at this point, I've kind of beat the game, and I'm just kind of just killing things.
So, okay, this is the one that has a very convoluted story, right? It's the one where there's a guy, and he sees a kid come out of a desert or a dead land or something like that. He's like, I didn't think that people lived back there, and then I didn't think anybody could survive. And then the kid's like, oh no, there's a whole civilization back there, and then there's monsters and shit like that he kills, right?
The boy doesn't do anything.
No, the main character, the guy that you're playing.
The guy that finds the boy and the person you are different people.
Convoluted. But am I thinking in general of the right game? Is that
Yes.
That's my question?
Yes, that is the correct game.
Fucking rude ass. Last time we talked, you said you were pretty early into the game, and now you said that you've beat the game.
No, last time I was just talking about the beginning of the game.
Oh, for no reason, because you're like, I hate the story in this.
And
And then you just decided to make all of us hate the story too. Is that what it was? You wanted to,
I wanted to commiserate.
Yeah, it did sound very convoluted and weird.
Yeah, I mean, they're all kind of like that, but it is what it is.
My question is, was it Warframe that's kind of like a live game kind of thing where every once in a while they'll add stuff to the story or stuff like that?
Yeah.
Is this game kind of like that, or is it there is the set story? Because to me it's weird with Warframe being every once in a while there's new updates, and isn't Destiny like that too?
Yeah.
And this is not like that?
No, I think Monster Hunter is on a 2-year schedule. So they release a game, and then about a year in, they add an expansion, and then a year after that, they release a new game.
And each game is its own story, and then an expansion is an extension of that story?
Yes.
Okay. What do you prefer? Do you prefer everything being part of one big story that's just added to every once in a while, or do you this, here's this story and then here's this other story?
I think I prefer the latter over the former.
So you prefer to have just succinct stories?
Yeah, and I don't have to just sit in the same game, because what ends up happening with live service games is it just keeps building on itself and building on itself and building on itself, and it just gets so large and convoluted and complex that it's hard to get new players, and then it's just this big cycle of content that's just recycled over and over again. There might be new things, but it might be the same type of gameplay over and over again.
So, okay, if I wanted to be a new player of Warframes, would I have to go through all of the old stuff to get to the current stuff, or is there's not really any way that you could enter in the middle of it?
No, there's a fair amount you must do before you can start messing with the current releases, but they're usually pretty good about ferrying people to that newer content. But I think you have to go through quite a bit on the base game. You have to play the story to unlock abilities, and sometimes those abilities are required to even see the new stuff.
Interesting.
Because that's one of the problems with live service games. They have problems making evergreen content, meaning it's a core piece of the game, and it's well designed and on itself, instead of being what's the word I'm looking for? Parasitic content. Parasitic content means that it's only there to service itself and it takes away from the other content. So it's like a thing that gets in the way, if you can think about it that way. But for Monster Hunter, I've just been trying to clear out all of the optional quests that they have.
And then what's the purpose? Because like to me, I was actually kind of surprised that you said that you prefer like, here's a game and it has like a beginning and an end and like all of this stuff that you have to do. And then they might give you an expansion where there's a little bit more to do and stuff. And then you have to go to a whole different game. I was kind of surprised that you said that you like that better than the live service ones where it's just like they keep updating it every now and again. Just because what do you do when you finish the game? Like then like, yeah, I get there's like you can like explore the world and do like these side quests that were optional and things like that. But like when you finish everything, then what's the point? Like you could go back to the start, I suppose, but it's like, why? Like what's the point then? Like versus like with the live service, to me it makes a little bit more sense because then you're like you have a reason to keep coming back because there's continually like versus I mean I guess maybe it's not as great for them because maybe it doesn't make money in that like at least with the here's a game and an expansion and you have to like then the reason you keep coming back is to buy the next installment or the next game kind of thing. But I feel like with a live service game like you keep people coming back and I suppose wouldn't they have to pay for like some of the next stuff, right? Or no?
For most live services, it's either you buy it one time or you don't buy it at all. It's completely free. And they have other ways of getting money out of you.
I don't know. I just think it's weird because it's like, I guess I think I would be more drawn to a product that doesn't have like a clear start and end because it is something that will keep you coming back.
One thing Monster Hunter does that I really like is they have events going on every once in a while. So like there's a summer event or like something along those lines. And if you play during that time period, you get special gear. So it's like when you're playing with other people, they can see, oh, this person played at that time because they have that cool looking outfit or they have this unique weapon. And they do that periodically until the expansion comes out. And then they kind of keep that going. But a lot of these games are designed to only be played a couple hours a day, if that, like an hour or two. So the amount of content that's there is pretty long, if you think about it
so
that
are
way.
you just admitting to us that you have no life and are spending way more than a couple hours a day?
Occasionally, I may spend several hours, maybe tens of hours playing.
Oh my goodness. Get a hobby.
That is my hobby.
Oh my
Leave me
gosh.
alone.
No. Meanwhile, I'm over here spending hours a day and hours a night losing sleep because I'm reading books and stuff like that. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I was one thing I like to do is there's an SOS feature in the game where you put a flare up and anyone can join you in the whole world. Anyone in the whole world can join you on your mission and help you out.
That's cool. So would you prefer having other people come and help you or do you like going and helping other people?
I like going to help other people.
Can you also like, I have a feeling that there's some people that would be like rude and take advantage of it and just like try to fuck with other people. Is there any way that you can like derail somebody's like mission or
Oh yeah.
does that happen often? At least in
sometimes, but most of the time no. Especially if you're playing the harder content. You have to be pretty decent at the game to even get to that point.
Well, right. But I mean, I'm just saying like if you're pretty good at the game and then you go to help somebody in quotes, like you're not actually there to help them, but like you're good at the game enough that you've like beat that monster or something like that on your own. And then you go to help somebody else. And then could you just be like a dick and like shoot them instead of the monster?
You can like hit other players and it kind of jostles them around a little bit is the worst thing that happens. But you can like make a build where you don't get affected by other players at all. My friend Andrew, he builds into that every time. It's a must for him.
Is that because you're such a dick and you would try to kill him otherwise?
No, I just don't avoid blasting him at all. I'm like, I'm hitting this area. I don't care that you're also here.
You're such a dick, Ian.
So he always builds into it.
You're so mean.
I mean, he could also just not be hitting there.
Oh my God.
That's my spot.
Victim blaming.
That's my spot. What's he doing? But the thing is, I don't build into that at all, so I get pushed around.
Good job.
So I'm like, what is my character doing? And they're like tripping. I'm like, why is my character tripping right now? I'm like, oh, I'm getting slapped with a hammer. Yeah, but on this one, they took out the ability to launch other people, unfortunately.
Unfortunately?
Yeah, that used to be at the end. You would purposefully try to like fling other people away.
Wow. I'm so sorry for you.
Yeah, it was like a fun little game between my friends and I to see how many times you could knock the other person over or make them fly into the air.
Wow.
That's gone now.
Tragic.
I know.
Can I tell you more about this book?
Yes, let's hear more about this wonderful book.
All right, so we're continuing Dreadful by Caitlin Rozakis. I don't remember how to say her last name. The story follows Gav, who is a dark wizard that lost his memories to a knowledge demon in the midst of an evil plot. He pieces back together his life and his plans, and he realizes that he doesn't really like being evil, and he wants to be a little bit more good. On his first day being good, though, he struggles to not be enraged at every inconvenience, from the captive Princess Alyasha being snobbish to the mayor detailing the overgrowth of garlic and the undergrowth of literally any other crop, to Count Fiari being an entitled brat in his pursuit to rescue the princess, to the strangle-happy squid, to his stupid clothes being stupid. It just seemed like everything was going wrong when he was trying to be good. When we last left off, Gav was still not done with his horrible, no good, very bad day that, started off with the best of intentions, but as the day went on, he found himself getting unreasonably angry and being very quick to wanting to incinerate people. And he had just been attacked by a squid in a bag and was off to go take a bath before dinner with the Princess Alyasha. So in addition to how tentacles have like the little suckers on them and whatever, he could feel that they had like left marks on him and stuff like that, and there's like this blue goop that came out and like all sorts. He's like, I'm a mess, I'm gonna go back and change for like the 5th time today. I don't even know how many times he's changed his clothes, but it's been too many.
He just likes Grabito.
He does. Grabito is so cute. So he goes to take a bath to just wipe all this shit off his face, and he catches a glimpse of himself in the mirror, and his entire face is just sucker marks, bruises, like, they're not coming off. It's not like something he can just scrub off. He's gonna have those for days at least. His hair is dripped in slime, the flames on his tunic had been doused in that blue goo, and he was really, really starting to regret trying to be a better person. He's like, this sucks. This is not as easy as I thought. He was like, I was riding such a high from the Mayor Turwin interaction, and it's just been whoosh, since that. He's like, I want to get off this ride. I hate it.
I'm waiting for him to go into the bathroom, and it's just ruined.
Oh yeah, because Gurabito smelled. But yeah, he's like, yeah, being a good person isn't as easy as I thought it was gonna be. And he's definitely not having fun anymore. But he's like, you know what? It's almost dinner time, and Orla was so excited about making dinner. So I'm excited to see what she's prepared. So he gets himself ready for dinner. Alyasha had beaten him to the Great Hall for once, for which he was not grateful. She did not turn when he entered, so it wasn't until he took his own seat that she got a good look at his face. Her eyes widened, her mouth opened. The bad mood immediately flooded back. He glared at her, hard enough that the candles nearly melted. She shut her mouth with a snap and tried to look nonchalant about the entire thing. He felt a wave of shame, and then immediately another wave of anger. How dare she make him feel ashamed? They both knew what she looked like under that glamour.
I was gonna say, isn't she like really ugly?
She's not really ugly. Oh, she's just plain.
Okay, she's just plain looking.
But
no princess.
Yeah.
That's why she's only worth 1/5 of the treasure.
I know, right? They both knew what she looked like under the glamour. All right, she was a princess, but she wasn't a very good one. She had no right to look down at him. And yet he thought of the knife and how her face had glowed as she threatened to burn the spell. He didn't care what she really looked like. He wanted her approval anyway. It was pathetic. He took a larger gulp of wine than was strictly necessary. He thought about the kind of day he'd had. He took another gulp of wine. It had started so well, too. Was there even a point in trying to salvage anything? He couldn't manage to sustain 10 minutes of goodwill before his thoughts turned ugly. no matter how hard he tried. No, he could do better than this. He didn't have to give in to Gavrex's old habits, or at least he didn't have to show them to other people. If it was all about controlling other people's impression of him, he could choose a different impression to aim for, regardless of what was going on inside. He summoned his last reserves of stamina, a racing messenger within sight of its destination. He would manage a civil conversation if it killed him. So, how terrible were the books? If he would never see a look of naked adoration on her face, he at least could keep the pleasure of startling her. Every time she gave him that confused look, he felt a flash of satisfaction that she'd thought she'd figured him out, and failed. She measured him over her goblet, clearly weighing how truthful to be. She'd intended to lie, one way or another, he guessed, but she hadn't expected the open invitation to complain. Would she stick to the flattering lie, or play the spoiled princess card? "Have you actually read them?" she finally asked. How should he know? "The pieces I needed." Seemed accurate enough. "I don't think anyone needs to know that much about the care and feeding and reproduction of bats," she said dryly. He was saved from needing to respond by the appearance of goblins bearing dinner. They trooped proudly out, bearing their covered platters. The one who set his dish in front of him wore brilliant yellow socks pulled up over his knobby knees. The princess's server appeared to have fashioned a hat featuring an entire bird's nest, including a dead bird stitched carefully in place.
I love it.
The princess kept her face still, but her eyes slid to the bird flopping around. I'm just imagining, just like a bird with like a broken neck. I don't know why. That's what I'm thinking. And just like having the head be the only part of it that moves, but it just like flops with every step.
I think this author is nailing goblins.
I love it. Yes. Any other goblin story? This is it. This is peak goblin. The goblins whipped off the lids with a flourish. Instead of the usual steak, Gav found a meat pie. It was carefully made, the rim crimped nicely all the way around. He took a sniff. A rich aroma of chicken and herbs wafted up. His mouth watered. Something other than the endless parade of beef. Just as well. They couldn't possibly afford to keep slaughtering cows at that rate. He picked up a fork and broke the pastry crust. His fork hit something hard. He kept from groaning, but he should have known better. He should have never asked Orla to stray from her strengths. He stabbed harder and snared whatever it was hidden in the gravy, lifting it free. It stared back at him. Across the table, Eliasha gave a little cry as she made her own discovery. She dropped her fork, and the tiny skull bounced its way across the table, landing with its beak facing Gav. "Kindly ask Orla to come up," he said, with a calm that he did not feel. While they waited, he poked at the crust. Eliasha sat rigid in her chair, hands folded neatly in her lap. Orla came up, hands wringing her apron. The distortion did no favors to the kitten. "Orla," Gav said as patiently as he could, given that his day had already included supercilious courtiers and flailing tentacles. "Could you please explain what it is that we have here?" "Lark's tongue pie," she mumbled, looking at her feet. Eliasha turned her horrified stare on the poor goblin. Gav wanted to explain that it was her first time, and to give the poor thing credit, but it didn't seem likely to help either the princess or Orla's pride. "I think it's customary to remove the tongues and not include the skulls," he said as gently as he could. "Orla knows," Orla said, looking up with desperate eyes. "But boys not find enough larks to fill the whole pie, and good eating on lark's head." "I suppose there is, but it makes a rather messy pie," he said. "Perhaps next time we can just make the stock out of the carcasses and include all of the meat from the larks and leave the bones out of the pie entirely." She nodded frantically. He had a thought, which came with its own sinking sensation. "Were there other courses?" She nodded again, even more frantically. "Nettle salad has flowers." Nettles. Interesting facts about nettles flashed through his brain. So very helpful his memory was. "I don't suppose you blanched the nettles to remove the stingers?" Orla's face froze. That would be a no, clearly. "And anything else?" "Mushroom skewers?" she said. Her face continued to fall. "Let's try those," he answered. "And maybe some bread. Do we have any bread?" She nodded, backing out of the room. He gave up at that point, rested his forehead in his hand. If you were trying to poison me, you would have had more of the pie, the princess said slowly. She was trying to impress you, he said with a groan. If you could try to hide a bit of the disdain, I would very much appreciate it. She's clearly mortified enough as it is. The princess was silent for a minute. Gav closed his eyes, resting. It was easier not to think. You're not quite what I expected, she said at last. Is anyone? He took a breath and forced his head up. Never mind, I've had far too much today to debate philosophy now. She cocked her head. Do I want to know? He rubbed his face. Squid, he said. It involved squid. Were the squid what caused the explosion? He looked up at her. She shrugged, a little uncomfortable. It was enough to rattle the lantern. He looked away. No, the explosion was your father's emissary. She gave a tiny gasp, quickly muffled. I mean, my response to the emissary, not the emissary himself. He's unexploded, he explained. Perhaps he should have let her think that he'd killed the man, but it didn't seem right. That wasn't the impression he wanted to give. No, it was more than that. Thinking Fiari was dead would hurt her, and he didn't actually want to hurt her. He couldn't help muttering, as much as I would have wanted to explode him. She ran a finger along the tines of her fork.
I'm just imagining him pouting.
Yeah, he's
like
just...
this scene is describing him as he's still face down, going, I just wanted to explode him.
No, I didn't explode him. As much as I would have wanted to explode him. Oh, it's great. He's just being like a pouty, like little brat, and I love it. She ran a finger along the tines of her fork. It was Fiari, wasn't it? One of your favorites, I take it. Ugly youngest daughters don't get favorites. We marry who we're told to and hope they're not nosy about our jewelry, she said bitterly. I suspect father sent him because he didn't much care whether you returned Fiari whole or in pieces. I considered it, Gav said. I believe I missed an opportunity. If he comes back, we'll try that. Eliasha froze, one finger still pressing the fork tine. How do you think it would go over if we sent him clutching that gorgeous pile of hair of his in a box? She blinked. I'll let you watch, he said, wagging his eyebrows temptingly. She didn't actually laugh. Princesses were too well trained for that. But the corner of her mouth twitched. She took a sip of wine to cover it, careful to keep her dragging sleeve off her plate. So, she was like, it was Fiari, I don't get to pick favorites, so I'm like, I'm not sure if she likes Fiari or not, but she does kind of agree that Fiari's like this ridiculous whatever, in love with himself kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, I'll let you watch. I could send him home in pieces.
Let you watch.
It'll
Send
be
him back
fun.
without any hair. I'll make him bald.
I'll make him hold his hair in a box. Yeah. So the mushroom skewers came up. And just as Eliasha was about to take a bite of it, he's like, don't eat that. And she's like, why? Are they poisoned or something? I thought we just established that you weren't trying to poison me. And he's like, I mean, they're not going to kill you, but they're hallucinatory mushrooms. He's like, the last thing we need right now is to be tripping balls. Like, we can't. And she's like, do you think the bread is safe? And like, he's like, I don't know. I can't think of any way that she would have fucked up the bread. Orla's trying really hard. We can try it and see if it's okay. And he's like, you know what? We'll return to steak. Like, Orla knows how to do steak. We can return to steak. And Eliasha surprised him by offering instead to have Orla come up to her cell with her cookbook, and she could help Orla design the meals to not be so deadly. Because she's like, Orla's not even doing this on purpose, is she? And Gav is like, no, she's not trying to kill us.
Just a goblin.
She's just a goblin.
Just being a goblin.
I love Orla so much. Oh my God. She's like, oh, she's so sweet. I seriously started getting kind of I don't know, that embarrassment or shame, that teary-eyed feeling of when she comes up and she's like, Orla knows. And I'm like, yes, you do, Orla. I know you knew better than to put the skulls in the pies. Oh, it broke my heart. I was like, don't be mad at Orla. She's so sweet. Anyways, okay. After they ate their fill on bread, Gav walked Eliasha back to her cell. He thanked her for not throwing a fit over the terrible dinner, and she was offended that he would think that she would throw that kind of a fit. And he admits that he doesn't know much about princesses. And then she's like, well, I guess I don't know much about wizards either. And he's like, dark wizards or just wizards in general? And she's like, well, I meant wizards in general, but I guess dark wizards to be specific. So they're, getting this little banter back. And he's starting to get really, really attached to her. And he has to keep reminding himself that he can't get attached to her because there's a plan.
Yeah. He loves her and she's gonna love him.
The two ugly ducklings.
Yeah, they're gonna have fun in their castle. And then Zarkanar's plan's gonna happen.
But it's gonna be ruined by garlic. I know it.
It's gonna be ruined by true love.
And garlic.
Garlic is part of true love.
You're not wrong, but oh my God. When they rounded the corner, he was embarrassed to see that her cell's guard had fallen asleep. The goblin sat leaning against the wall, legs splayed and helmet tilted down over his warty face. It rose and fell gently as he snored. He blushed. How could she possibly ever take him seriously when he had surrounded himself with buffoons? How could anyone? Did he have to set someone on fire every day just to inspire a little discipline? Since he clearly no longer wanted to set anyone on fire, even jerks like Fiari, that boded poorly for future personnel reviews. Gavrix had worked alone. Gav no longer remembered his exact reasons, and going by his current instinctive reactions, Gavrix had nothing but contempt for princesses and women in general. And, well, probably everyone outside of himself. Gavrix had made demonstrably bad decisions and trapped himself. So getting out would require doing something that Gavrix would never have done. Eliasha stepped over the sleeping goblin's legs, waiting for him to open the door and shove her inside. He stopped. It was an insane plan, but he didn't have a better one. He would need help, competent help. She would never agree to help him out of the goodness of her heart, no matter how good she might be. But maybe he could give her a reason to align her interests with his, just for a little while. How would you feel about learning magic? If he'd startled her before, this stopped her dead in her tracks. I beg your pardon. Your solution with the knowledge demon, it was brilliant. You've a fine mind that's going to waste and you know it. She stared at him, looking for the catch. And you would set me free? Not a thing he could promise, but it could lead to your freedom.
Half-truths. If you learn magic, you may be of help in the disaster that's going to happen.
So I love that he's starting to make allies. And not only is he making allies, but all of them so far seem to be women, because he's like, I like Terwin. She's intelligent. She's a little sassy, but like willing to humble herself when she feels like she's messed up. Then there's Valevna, who is hot as all hell. Gorgeous. Maybe a little dangerous, but like is overlooked by Zarkanar and is like, I could do more. And he's like, I know you could do so much more. I have faith that you could do so much more, Valevna. And now there's the princess, who's never been given opportunities to really get into what she wants to, because she's talked about how her father hasn't let her even get into like the siege warfare shit.
Yeah, but he'll allow her to do self-defense things, which I thought was pretty fun.
Yeah,
but she probably asked for that.
Yeah, or maybe went out and got it on her own, who knows. But I just love that he's making allies with some pretty powerful women, it seems, which I think that's really great. And I do like that he's giving Eliasha as much of an opportunity as he can to be her own person. And I hope that soon he actually stops requiring her to wear the ring. And I actually hope that like he prefers to see her like true self, you know, because like I feel like that has to be so humiliating too, especially like that one dig he had at her earlier where he was like, make sure you always wear that and whatever. Like, I'm like, that's so mean. Her eyes narrowed. Why are you doing this? How much to tell her? I could use your help with something. Will it hurt anyone? Not unless you choose to do so, he said honestly. He thought about it for a minute. You might even be able to help people. He could see the curiosity warring with caution in her eyes. It's not the kind of thing princesses are supposed to know. He prodded her. That did it. All right, but this had better not be a trick. If it is, you'll have the joy of foiling it, he said. Her lips twitched. He was looking forward to this, he realized with surprise. He couldn't wait to see her eyes light up when she cast her first spell. And she'd like magic, he was sure of it. Maybe she'd find a way to like him too. He flushed immediately, realizing his foolishness. Don't hope for things that are impossible. Tomorrow, then. He just had to keep from embarrassing himself a little longer. He stepped over the guard's legs, as if they were of no concern, and opened the door. He gave a little bow. Your chamber, Your Highness. She shut the door herself. He stood, pathetically, over the snoring minion and stared at the door. The little window was shut. No one was around. He felt completely and totally drained. Too many emotions in too little time. Slowly, gently, so as not to make a sound that would alert her to his pitifulness, he let his head fall forward and rest against the door, which is why he could hear the voices inside. "What are you doing here?" one hissed. It sounded like it might be Alyosha, though he'd never heard her make such an undignified noise before. "What does it look like? I'm here to rescue you," replied the other. Deeper. Male. Trying to be quiet and not quite succeeding. Gav froze, his heart pounding in his ears. "Does my father know you're here?" she hissed again. "No," he responded. "Not exactly. He knows that I came to plead for your freedom, but I did not tell him that I would win you free myself. Today was just a way for me to learn more of the castle, you see. I would never leave you behind, sweet princess." Of course. He thought he'd recognize the voice. That foppish, preening idiot. He could feel power rising from the soles of his feet, washing through his body like a hot red tide. "How did you get past the castle wards?" A very good question. His fingers had already started to shape themselves to cradle a fireball without any conscious decision on his part, but he stilled them. "I went to the White Wizard Arthano and told her of my mighty quest. She gave me 3 gifts. A ring that would make me invisible to all eyes, living and magic. A dart that would render a guard unconscious with a single pinprick. And a rope that can bear any weight. You merely have to trust yourself to my arms, and I shall repel us both down the battlements to safety." Did she also give you a key that could unlock any door? The acid of her tone bathed his skin. "Because in case you failed to notice, we're locked in here." But not that it matters terribly much. If it were just a matter of a locked door and a stupid goblin, do you really think I would still be here? He flushed again in humiliation. Of course. If she could throw a dagger, the goblin guards were probably no real match for her. And he'd given her a lantern to brain them with. How stupid was he? Why was she still here? He should burst in and cut this short, but something in his soul wanted to see how far he'd sunk. He needed to know what she really thought. It was like pulling a layer of skin off of a burn. Painful and short-sighted, but sickeningly satisfying. "He's not an idiot," she was saying. He wasn't? "You see this thrice-damned collar around my neck? It's bespelled, you fool. If I get too near the boundary of the castle, I end up on the floor in excruciating pain. He let me prove it the first night." Her tone turned bitter. "I thought I was so very clever. I collapsed, and he had to drag me by my hair far enough away for the effect to fade. I nearly retched on myself." Oh, well, that was rather clever of him. Reprehensible, he supposed, but clever. Well done, Gavrax.
I love that. Oh, I guess I am clever.
Oh, I love it. "You poor child." He heard a rustle of cloth and pictured Fiari moving to embrace her, to comfort her. Gav's eyes narrowed. Death would not be easy for the fop. A thump. "I'm not a child," she said coldly. "No, you are the fairest of gently born maidens, and only true evil could subject you to this." Fiari tried again. "I shall face him and force him to free you." "No. You shall go home to my father and report everything in exact detail, and have him send Arthana herself instead of some fool wielding single-use magic items." Gav snuffed the torches in the hallway with a quiet wave of his hand. He flicked his fingers, and blue fire raced up the seams of his robe to gather around his neck, unburning. "Never! I could never abandon you here, alone, to suffer the lecherous advances of that stinking evil. Don't be daft. I need you to. I would rather face 1,000 deaths than the dishonor of abandoning you to your fate." "You would have done better to listen to her, you know," Gav said, swinging the door open. "She's a remarkably sensible person." They stared at him looming out of the darkness, his face wreathed in blue flame, shock written on both of their faces. "Guards!" he called, letting his voice thunder down the hallways. He strode inside. Fiari sat on the floor, where Alyosha had shoved him. He scrambled backwards, all flailing legs and hands like a particularly ungainly crab. It pleased him. "I told you I would not be generous the next time," he said mildly. Fiari bumped against the wall, breathing hard. "So what was your plan if you were discovered? Try to tie me up with the magic rope? Or did you think that if Arthano did not give you an item for it, the situation would never arise?" He paced forward, one slow step at a time until his toes touched the bottom of Fiari's scrabbling boots. "Arthano would never trust you with something powerful enough to threaten me. But no, you came here armored in your own righteousness. You could never fail because you're the hero. Gav took a deep breath, his hands curling by his sides. Fiari's eyes widened. Please. He glanced aside. The princess stood, one hand outstretched, as if she had thought to touch his sleeve, but hadn't dared. Please, she said. Slowly, without breaking eye contact, she went down on one knee, and then the other. Please don't kill him. You don't even like him, he said, not liking how peevish the voice sounded to his own ears. That doesn't mean I want him to die for me, she replied. Please. I don't have anything to offer you cannot already take, so I am begging you. He made a show of sighing and relaxing his hands. An awkward sense of relief relaxed the muscles in his chest. He'd just been starting to be proud of himself for not killing Fiari the first time. He didn't want to do it now, and definitely not in front of Elyasha. But Fiari was an insufferable ass, and could not be allowed to leave the castle alive, and he hardly wanted another prisoner to watch over. Killing him would be so much simpler. So, eventually the goblin guards arrive, and so does Sirocco, and Sirocco's like, oh my god, please let me torture him. I've been going crazy not being able to torture anybody. And Gav is like, no thanks, Sirocco.
Oh, I thought for sure that was going to be his solution, just to have him be tortured.
Well, and Sirocco's like, I can figure out how he got in. And Gav's like, I already know how he got in. He just spilled everything to Elyasha. So, like, torturing him is unnecessary. And he's like, I'm trying to be a better person without letting everybody know that I'm trying to be a better person. So, no, I can't have you torturing him. And he, like, squabbles with Elyasha. And Elyasha's like, please don't kill him. Please don't torture him. And he's like, well, what do you want me to fucking do? And basically, he decides not to kill Fiari. And he changes him, like, magically into a rooster. Get it? Because he's a dick or a cock. Ah ha ha, so funny.
The thought that crossed my mind when he said he turned him into a rooster, I was like, is our goblin chef, prompt me with the name?
Orla.
I was wondering if Orla was going to find him and cook him into a pie.
Oh my god, that would be so fucking funny. Well, actually, the funniest part too is that like all the goblin guards came up and he turned to some of them when he made the decision that he wasn't going to kill Fiari. He's like, hey, can you go ask Orla if there's any of the lark's pie left over, and can you bring the skull or whatever skull was in that pie? It was part of the spell where like he had to use the thing. But part of this whole thing when he told the goblin guards to go ask Orla for that skull, and he actually had Elyasha grab like this vial of this blue powder for the spell to work. And she's like, how do I know that you're not going to just kill him or whatever? And he's like, just trust me for a second. And she's like, why should I trust you? And he's like, I don't think I've actually lied to you. I've maybe, omitted some parts of the truth, but I've not directly told you a falsehood. So I want you to trust me. And so it was kind of a little bit of him trying to like see how much she would trust him. Mm-hmm. And so she goes and fetches the vial and, he does the spell and the guy turns into a rooster. And then she's like, well, how do I know that you're not going to kill him now? And he's like, after all of this work to change him into a rooster in the first place, honestly, nobody appreciates my genius. He's like, why would I kill him now? But now that you mention that maybe Orla accidentally kills him, that would be so fucking funny. And he's like, I don't know what to do with you now that you're a rooster. I can't have you be in the same cell as Elyasha because one, that would be scandalous. She's a princess, for fuck's sake. And then also, I don't want you two scheming with each other. And also Elyasha's like, I don't want to be in a cell with him. Like, I don't fucking like him. Well, and it described him as being like, he's like, he must have had mange or something because he didn't have a lot of feathers. And I was fucking dying. But he had an impressive comb, And so he's like, yeah, that hair though. Like, it was so funny. And he was also like, I don't want to deal with the ethical dilemma of letting you stay in the chicken coop with the other chickens. And I don't want you to sire a child and, whatever. He's like, I don't know. That would be like some weird chicken human hybrid that I don't want to have to deal with. So he basically finds a place to put Fiari. And he's like, Elyasha, we can have supervised visits with him if you want. And Fiari, who can still talk, he's a rooster, but he can still like speak English. He squawks for a bit, and then Gav is like, shut the fuck up. You can still talk, you idiot. And he was like, oh, please let me stay by Elyasha's side. I want to protect her. And he's like, you're a fucking cock right now. I don't know what you think you can do to help her. And she doesn't want you here anyways. All right. So
Yeah, the other thing I was thinking of was I'm glad they didn't go down the standard trope of if I wanted to kill him, I would have already killed him.
Right.
That was so much more interesting.
Yeah. So the next day, Gav invites Elisha into his workshop to help her basically with her first magic lesson. But instead of like actually doing like spells and stuff like that, he's like, can you help me clean up this mess? Because he has so many papers that are scattered throughout the room. The two of them start organizing all of his papers that had been disrupted from all of the fires that seemed to burst out into that room, from the knowledge demon, from the squid fiasco, and the general chaos of being a dark wizard's workshop. You know, it's a mess. And so he's like, I need to like sort these papers and like pile things that go together with each other and all of that kind of stuff. And during this time, he's like, I'm going to have you take off your magical ring for these magic lessons because I don't want anybody to get suspicious about why I'm taking you out of your cell. And he had her dressed in like plain clothes and everything like that too. He's like, we're going to run with the story that you're my apprentice because the ugly you looks different enough from the princess that nobody's going to suspect anything. And I'm like, that's so fucking funny. But he's actually like letting her be her true self in there, which I'm like, that's so nice. And I love that. So he's like, I'm going to have you take that magic ring off. And as they're organizing the papers, Gav begrudgingly admits that her organizational system for the papers is a lot better than what his was. And he's starting to realize that she seems to have a very natural talent and has a lot of potential to be good at magic. And he's like, I bet with some practice, you would become better than I would ever hope to be. Like, I think you could be a very powerful magical being. And he gets really excited. And so they also are taking time to remove the chalk off of the floor because he's like, I don't want to accidentally summon a demon and all of that kind of stuff. Even though like, so like they take all that stuff off the floor because he doesn't want any accidents to happen. But he's like, at the same time, Elisha could definitely handle taking care of any demon that we accidentally summon because she's so smart. He wasn't sure that he could handle it though. So he was like, yeah, we gotta make sure that doesn't happen. And they have this like cute little moment where he tells her that she has an instinct for magic and she gives him very likely her first genuine smile. But of course, that moment was cut short when Gav received the Skype call from his mirror. Like that's the only thing that I can picture is that I imagine that it makes the little like Skype sound too, the do 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 like that thing. But anyways, sorry, like he gets a Skype call in his mirror. So here's that scene. Gav considered her. You have a certain instinct for magic, it seems. Really? The word clearly popped out. Really, he said. She smiled, perhaps the first genuine smile he'd seen on her face. It was a nice smile, less elegant and more puckish than he'd expected. He was looking forward to teaching someone, he realized with surprise. It would almost be like starting over in some way. Beneath its cover, the mirror flickered, and this is where I imagined the Skype sound coming in. Oh no, he groaned. Not Zarkanar again. Who's Zarkanar? Elisha asked. He scrambled for the mirror. If you put wizards on a scale from rides unicorns and chats with angels to eats children for breakfast, Zarkanar is so much further down the scale than I am that he probably keeps an orphanage with a saltwater pool so they come pre-brined. Stay out of sight. Oh, and keep Grr Beetle with you. Gav wished he could join them. Grr Beetle was in there, by the way, because he was helping with the sorting, and he was because he felt so good about getting Gav that squid because for whatever reason Gav needed a squid, and he's like, I can get you another squid, and Gav's like, please, for the love of God, I have enough squids. I have more squid than I know what to do with, but if you're wanting to be helpful, you can help us with this and stuff. So like that's why he's in the room. Oh, and keep Grr Beetle with you. Gav wished he could join them. But when he got to the mirror and started to remove the cover, he realized the little glowy bits at the bottom were different. He'd been working them out. Not Zarkanar and not Velevna. Did that leave Zaxis? With a sense of foreboding and preemptive regret, he tugged off the cover and sat down. He wasn't prepared, though. A set of enormous eyes loomed over him. Not a pair, a full set. The middle ones, largest and with dark pupils, were distorted into huge rings. Around them floated several additional smaller eyes, silvery with dark rims of all different sizes. Tufts of silver radiated from the apparition. Gah! He jumped back involuntarily, tipping the entire desk stool over. Somehow he managed to stay upright instead of landing flat on his back, but it involved a great deal of undignified scrambling. Ah! Exclaimed the apparition, rearing backwards, arms waving frantically. The arms gave him a reference point, and the backward lunge brought the image into better focus. Not a monster, a man, wearing a bizarre array of lenses on his face. Oh! Zaxis blinked at him, each eye magnified 100 times. I forgot my lensiculars again, didn't I? Oh, good. So this would be a regular occurrence. Yes, he replied, trying to mask his still racing heart with a tone of bored irritation. You did. Zaxis continued to blink at him. Do you want to take them off? They're rather distracting. Oh, yes, right, the other wizard said. Gav couldn't remember where that accent came from. Warm and rounded and musical. Zaxis fiddled with something behind his head, and the entire array popped off into his hands. Gav could actually see his face. Zaxis' skin was not far off from the mayor's, a deep brown. The much older man's white hair had a texture that allowed it to stand straight up on its own, in spikes around his face. Judging by the numerous stains and holes and burns adorning Zaxis' robes, Gav guessed his colleague's hair represented less a local style and more just the wildness of neglect. So, Zaxis leaned back. What were we going to talk about? You called me, Gav said slowly. Oh, right. So I did. Zaxis drummed his fingers. Have I shown you my latest creation? Whether he had or not, it seemed safer to answer no. Any hint at all as to what kind of person he was dealing with might be helpful. Gav shook his head, bemused. I have it here somewhere, hold on. Zaxis leaned away from the mirror. Ah, here it is. He returned, bearing a small cage. He reached inside and pulled out a tiny monstrosity. I started with the wings, Zaxis chattered happily, but since it was the first one to survive this particular bone grafting process, I just kept going. I was considering fish gills next. Wouldn't that, interfere with the purpose of the wings, Gav said, balanced between being sickened and fascinated? Well, it can't fly anyway without additional spells. Mammal bones are much too heavy, but I suppose it would ruin the aesthetic. I wonder would the local girls like them? The wings? Gav thought about how Eliasha would likely respond to being handed a rat with pigeon wings. I'm not sure they would appreciate their pets having an extra set of limbs. No. Oh, not their pets. The girls. It would be rather pretty, don't you think? Although a bit difficult finding wings of suitable size. No, Eliasha would not like that one bit. Perhaps you might ask them instead of me? He settled on. From across the room, he could feel her eyes burning into his back. Yes, he was well aware of the hypocrisy, but surely turning a count into a chicken made a kinder solution than setting him on fire.
I was like, where's she going with this?
She's mad at him.
She's mad at him because he turned someone into a chicken.
Yeah. So he's like, yeah, wouldn't you rather just ask them instead of me? Sure, okay. Oh, Zaxis tapped his teeth. The older wizard seemed incapable of sitting still for longer than a second or two. It seems like such a bother. Easier to add them and let them just get used to the idea. Oh yes, I remember why I called. And why is that? What had Gavrix made of this one, he wondered. Jealousy? Zaxis boasted a far more impressive laboratory, and honestly seemed rather more brilliant, but also quite mad. Volevna! She said you were different somehow, the last time you talked. Ice raced down his spine, and his guts cramped. He tried to keep his voice calm. Different how? Something about you not appreciating her assets in your usual fashion? I can't say I feel the same. You've been perfectly willing to examine my latest research. He stopped short, and a crafty look came over his face. Actually, more willing than normal. I say, are you trying to butter us up in advance of the meeting? Meeting? He asked. What meeting? The last thing he wanted was a meeting. The convocation! The great shindig! The culmination of Zarkanar's master plan? Oh, that meeting, he said weakly. I've been a bit distracted lately. You know how it is. When is it again? It sounded unbelievable to his own ears, but Zaxis nodded sympathetically. The mad old wizard probably forgot his own name on a daily basis. Cheer up, lad. You have a whole week. A week? I have to say, I was rather surprised you volunteered to host, Zaxis continued. His eyes narrowed. Then again, I suppose Zarkanar didn't give you much of a choice, did he? You know Zarkanar, Gav said, mostly to keep from showing his sudden terror. Unfortunately, said Zaxis. At least Gav wasn't the only one scared of him, it seemed. But then the other wizard brightened. Still, it will all pay off in the end, won't it? I hope so, said Gav. Oh, who's that? Come into frame, girl. Let's see you, said Zaxis. Why not? This could hardly get any worse. Gav twisted around. Eliasha stood with wide eyes, rather less glamorous without her glamour, having edged just a little too far. He reluctantly motioned for her to join him, less suspicious than trying to hide her now. This is my new apprentice, Gav said. Oh, apprentices? I love apprentices. So bright and shiny, said Zaxis. Then he looked a little crestfallen. Mine never seemed to last. Rather on the plain side, isn't she? Zaxis said as he peered closer. Have you ever considered prettying her up a bit?
Just everyone's just like,
She's kind of ugly.
she's a little ugly. I have spells to modify her.
I could make her pretty, you know? Like, oh my God. That's so, I mean, I hope that these jokes never stop coming. I think it's so funny. I mean, it's mean, but it's also, I love this like twisting, like she's a princess, but she's not this like drop dead gorgeous person on her own kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Like how she's noticeably plain.
It's so funny.
They don't describe her as like straight up hideous.
No, she's not hideous, but she's just not, she's not pretty. It's so funny. Okay. Mine never seemed to last. Rather on the plain side, isn't she? Zaxis said as he peered closer. Have you considered prettying her up a bit? He expected her to bristle, but she just gave a little sigh, which was somehow worse. I like her just fine as she is, he said firmly. Oh, I see, Zaxis cackled. What? No, you don't see, Gab said frantically. Eliash's ears were turning a shade of red normally found in roses and poppies. No, I understand, Zaxis laughed, waving him off. No accounting for taste, I suppose. Enjoy your apprentice. I suppose that's why Volevna was all fussy, if you're too distracted with your toy to pay attention to her.
Oh my goodness. He's just going all in.
Oh my God. Zaxis is my new favorite character, by the way.
Oh, that kind of apprentice, I see.
I see what you mean.
Who am I to begrudge your tastes?
Oh my God, that's so funny. All right. Enjoy your apprentice. I suppose that's why Volevna was all fussy, if you're too distracted with your toy to pay attention to her. Although if you change your mind about upgrades, I'd be happy to help when I'm there. I've got some of the most lovely ideas about what could be done with those tibia. I'll see you in a week. The mirror flickered out. First of all, I don't want to know what he could do with her tibia. That's scary. But anyways, the mirror flickered out. For a minute or two, Gav, Eliasha, and Gerda Beetle sat in silence, alone with their thoughts. 1 week. 1 week to figure out how to hide the fact that he'd lost his memory and clearly wasn't getting it back. 1 week to figure out what the plan he had committed to consisted of. 1 week to decide whether the really quite charming young princess in his care was worth standing up to 3 more powerful and potentially very angry wizards. And if she was, to figure out how to even let her go without causing excruciating pain. Come to think of it, there was something else happening around the same time, wasn't there? Ah, yes, King Barabino's promised heroes. Oh, and how could he forget? The Garlic Festival! Perfect! A welcoming party!
It's all coming together.
Everything happening in the same week. Oh no! He choked back a hysterical laugh. If he wrote everyone concerned a very nice letter, perhaps he could convince them to cancel, or at least to reschedule into a more congenial order. You had no idea who he was, did you? He jerked away from her so hard he nearly fell over. What do you mean? Zaxis is one of my oldest friends. Friends? He considered what it would say about him if he was friends with someone planning to sew wings onto unconsenting women. That might be overstating it a bit. There's something wrong with you. Eliasha narrowed her eyes. You're not what I would expect a dark wizard to be. And how many dark wizards have you met? He was rapidly losing control of this conversation, and he had no idea what to do about it. She cocked her head and took a step forward. To his shame, he skittered backwards. None of your actions line up with the first night I was here, she continued. There's no reason why you would kidnap me and then try to make me into an ally. At first I thought it was a trap, but it's not, is it? You have no idea what you're doing. Fear and rage warred. Part of him wanted to strike out at her, to prove that he was competent at least, to stop her from talking. A knowledge demon, you said, she mused. His breath caught in his throat. How much did he take? The floor dropped out from under him, and he was falling. Eliasha and Gerda Beetle were above him, and he was shrinking into nothingness, the nothingness he deserved. No, he was just sitting on the floor. They were looking down at him, Gerda Beetle in confusion, and Eliasha with a faint pity that was somehow even worse than contempt. It's true, isn't it? She said, with just a touch of wonder. She hadn't been sure, he realized. She'd tossed it out to see if it would land. He could have bluffed his way out if he had kept his nerve. That made it even worse. How long? She asked. He continued to stare at her mutely, trying to figure out how to answer, what to say. How much of your memory is gone? All of it. he said bleakly. That startled her. Wonderful. He was even worse off than she thought. Well, he told himself he enjoyed surprising her. He wanted to laugh, hysteria bubbling up. Why had he thought that she could help him? That she would help him? He was useless, unworthy of help. What do you mean all of it? She said cautiously. He shrugged. Why hide now? Everything. From the beginning. I don't even remember my name. Dreadlord Gavrax, supplied Grr Beetle helpfully.
Oh, so cute. I don't even, like, he's having an existential crisis.
I don't even know my name. You're Dreadlord Gavrax. I know that one.
And his cute little attendant goes, oh, you are Dreadlord Gaxus.
Gaxus?
Gravlax.
Oh my god.
He is
Wyvern.
Smoked wyvern fish.
Everything. From the beginning, I don't even remember my name. Dreadlord Gavrax, supplied Grr Beetle helpfully. He gave the goblin a withering stare. You remember things minute to minute. You remember something. What's the first thing you do remember? Elisha inquired. Waking up with no eyebrows, he said. And then visiting you. Is that when you first suspected? When I wasn't enough like Gavrax? What do you mean you weren't like Gavrax? She asked, baffled. Wait, do you think you're someone else swapped into his body? He hadn't considered that one, but no. The knowledge demon had known perfectly well who he was. That's what I call him, he mumbled. Me, I mean, the old me. She paused for a moment. Then she asked more gently, the way you might ask a crazy person so as not to set them off. So what do you call yourself then? He blushed again. Of course he sounded like a crazy person. I'm just Gav. Gavrax seemed like it didn't fit. He looked up. You didn't answer my question. When did you start to suspect? She sat back and studied him. You're surprised constantly by things you ought to know. You fumble your way through talking to people you're clearly supposed to be familiar with. You don't recognize your own belongings, but you know what to do with them as soon as you see them. Your staff is constantly surprised too, like you never do what they expect. I thought it was from the knowledge demon, that it had done something to you before you ran into me in the hall, but you're saying it was earlier than that. He felt deflated, empty. He thought he was doing so well. He wondered how many other people had seen right through him. It was the knowledge demon, he said dully. You came in for round 2. You did this to yourself? Elisha asked, looking amused. I don't know. Maybe. So if you want my help, you can start by letting me go. He closed his eyes. You have no idea how to let me go, do you? Not so much, no.
In his mind, he's like, I didn't even know you had a collar on.
Pretty much. He was like, I saw that you had one, but I thought that was yours.
You don't know how to let me go. I can't let you go either.
You have no idea how to let me go, do you? Not so much, no. You're an idiot. That was enough. Yes, I'm an idiot, but I still remember my magic, which at least gives me more of a defense against Zarkanar and his friends than you have, so I wouldn't look so superior if I were you. I need help, yes, but you need even more help. So are you going to sit there looking down at me, or are you going to make some sort of alliance with me to get us both out of this mess? The mess that you started, Elisha pointed out.
No, it wasn't me. That was Gavrax.
The mess that you started, Elisha pointed out. The mess that Gavrax started.
Yes.
Corrected. The mess that Gavrax started, he corrected. You really think of him as a different person, don't you? She said, still studying him. He'd had enough of sitting below her. He picked himself up awkwardly, dusting himself off. It didn't do much, but it made him feel better. He might as well be. I don't know what he was thinking with any of this, and I can't honestly say that I approve of his choices. Huh, so you don't even know why you captured me in the first place. I have some guesses, none of them good, he admitted. I think you're a spell component. Zarkanar is summoning something big. And what happens to me in this spell? She held her head high and her voice didn't waver, but her hands were clasped together so tightly the knuckles had turned white. I don't know, he said. I don't know what happens in the ritual itself, but it's probably not good. I suppose the apprentice thing was just a test then? She sounded like she was struggling with both fear and bitterness. Actually, no, he said, glad to have one thing to give her. You really do show signs of talent. I really did mean that. And I need help. And I think you should learn magic. So, they talk for a bit, having this little heart-to-heart and like trying to figure some stuff out. Elisha is trying to figure out more of what's going on. And she's obviously much like keener and more intelligent, and so it's actually probably really good to have her in on this now because she is so intelligent and kind of sneaky and stuff like that. So it's like she's probably better at riddling it out than he ever could be.
Yeah, I was wondering when we were going to get a flip of characters. I guess maybe that's not the best way to say it. I was wondering when we were going to get the flip from someone becoming on the outside to the inside of the plan. Because it had to happen eventually. And I think the author did a very good job. Kind of held your hand on the way there, but so good.
It's so good. This discussion also leans a little bit more into the appearances versus practicality of things. Like Elisha takes a moment because she eventually feels like very weak in the knees because she feels kind of helpless. And she sits in Gavrex's chair and is like, this thing is really not comfortable. And Gav is like, no, it's not, but it looks menacing. And it's the only way people seem to take me seriously. If you look the part, that's when people will take you seriously. And Elisha muses that explains the dark lighting throughout the castle because she's like, what the fuck is with the torches? And he's like, atmosphere. And she's like, that doesn't make any sense. What the fuck? And he's like, no, seriously, it's really annoying. I have to have this ugly chair because it looks menacing and evil and sinister, and people take me seriously when I sit in this creepy chair. And I have to wear this stupid robe because I look the part of a dark wizard because Fiari didn't take me seriously when I was wearing peasant clothes or the pirate outfit or whatever it was. He goes through and he's like, yeah, just nobody seems to take me seriously unless I'm like acting the part, unless I look the part. And I really like this whole discussion. I really like this whole discussion about what makes a person truly evil and what makes them turn down an evil path, because she does ask that. She's like, do you think that you turned evil because your mom named you Gavrax? And he's like, I don't know that that's my name. What mom would name their child Gavrax? And she's like, maybe that's why you went evil. And he's like, I don't know. So like they have that kind of a conversation. And I also really like this whole idea of like the appearances versus the reality. It kind of reminds me of Wicked. I remember when I first saw Wicked, it was like 2017 or something, and I really loved in that story how with Elphaba, how she was that scapegoat, the easy thing to blame or to hate, when really it was the wizard and it was all of like the head of Shiz and all that kind of stuff who were corrupt and doing horrible things to the creatures in Oz. So I this just kind of reminds me of that, of him.
At the same time, he was genuinely cruel.
Yes.
Before he lost his memory.
Yes. We don't know if he like...
We don't know the reason behind it, but that's besides the point that he was legitimately cruel and had these plans.
That is true. But I also think too, like, he does do stuff now as not a willingly evil person. He does things to keep up the appearance of being evil without actually being evil. You know what I mean? So it's like... That's interesting. And I really like that. And I wonder how much of that is going to keep going through. But I do think you're right, too. And like, does a person's history define who they are now, kind of thing?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about that as we were going through this conversation. I was like, is it trying to show us that you are more than your past actions? It's who you are now and what you're going to do about it. I feel like I stumbled over some words there, but whatever.
That's okay. And it also kind of makes me question, like, is anybody ever like truly and wholly evil? Or how much of people being evil is just that they look evil or that they are an easy thing to point at as being evil? And even so, if there are people that are truly evil, are they capable of doing good things? And can you... Like, is there a scale or a balance with it? Like, if an evil person starts doing good deeds, does that ever make up for their evilness? I also like how this story gets into what people take seriously and, like, it kind of going into that appearance thing a little bit. Even, like, when you take a step back from, I don't know, like, I've seen posts on social media and stuff like that from women with PhDs or who are otherwise experts in their field who have, like, a man quoting the woman's work to that woman and saying that she needs to educate herself more by reading it or whatever. I've seen one like that recently. Like he quoted my own fucking paper to me and said that I needed to like learn more about this subject when I literally wrote the paper he was referencing. Or like Mayim Bialik, I don't know how to say her last name, from The Big Bang Theory. She plays the neuroscientist on that show. And she also has a PhD in neuroscience. And there's so many interviews where people are like, how hard is it to play this brilliant neuroscientist on TV? Like, are the words hard to say? And she's like, bitch, please, I am a brilliant neuroscientist. Get the fuck out of here.
It's gotta be so annoying because it's like, did you even do any research about the guest you're hosting?
Right, exactly. So it's like, I think that it's really interesting how this book delves into that kind of thing of he's like, I am a good wizard. Like, as in, like, I am good at magic kind of thing. He's like, I might not be the best. I'm not trying to, like, overstate how good I am at stuff. But, like, I can do magic. That's the one thing that I didn't lose when I lost my memory is that I can still do magic and I know how to do magic. But, like, in order for anyone to take him seriously as a dark wizard or just even as a person, he has to have this show of being the dark wizard, having the blue flames race up his robes, having, like, all this kind of shit. So, I don't know. I feel like I'm getting a little bit off track, but, like, that's kind of, I really, really liked. I like how the story is kind of showing that struggle of, like, being an expert and being good at something and still being undermined by people's opinions or perception of you, and how like you have to look a certain way to be taken seriously. And I don't know, I like where this book is going with that. What did you learn today?
I learned that when you're making a pie,
a lark's tongue pie,
and you don't have enough lark's tongue, just don't put the whole skull in there.
Oh, don't come for Orla. She's so nice.
Yeah, she's just making standard goblin things.
Yeah, she's like, you can.
Yeah, they know about these other stuff, but they're still just goblins.
She's just a goblin.
They're just a bit crude.
I love that he's also getting very defensive over the goblins too. He's like, I mean, yeah, they're disgusting, but they're my disgusting little monsters. Like, you shut up.
You don't get to talk about my goblins like that.
Yeah, you're my goblins. So I love that. I thought that was so funny. I learned that you can help somebody else on an SOS mission, but like at the same time, while you were helping them, you can also be an absolute dick and blast them around and like kind of injure them and stuff like that, to the point that your very good friend just knows to expect that from you because you're a dick.
No, if you're gonna do lots of online stuff, you should have that built into your set.
Because humans tend to be dicks.
Well, if you're just, it slows you down, essentially is all it does.
Yeah, so why
and I want to see big number go up. Anyway.
You really are 5.
Big number go up. Number only go up. Why did you do this? 'Cause number go up.
I have one brain cell, and that brain cell say number go up.
I see big number, brain go, yay.
I see big number get bigger, yay.
Perfect. That means it work.
I see big number go down, I'm dead.
Big number go down? What the heck?
Big number go down? I don't want to play this game anymore.
What is this? They ruined it.
All right. Well, where can people find us?
They can find us on Facebook.
At A Pot of Sass and Sarcasm.
They can follow us on Instagram.
A Pot of Sass. Or at A Pot of Sass.
They can set us?
Did you take the brain cell from me today?
Yes. They can send us an email.
At apotofsass@gmail.com.
Or they can donate to our Patreon.
It doesn't have to be an or. It can be an and. You can send us an email and then also donate to our Patreon at patreon.com/apotofsass-and-sarcasm.
Nah, it's a prerequisite. We only get emails from Patreon. I'm just kidding. That'd be really funny, though. You can also check out new episodes
on Saturdays wherever you find podcasts. And don't forget to rate, review, share. It really helps us get out there, especially the ratings. I've heard. I don't know.
We don't know how these things work. We just
I've heard
make them.
Especially with iTunes. I guess I don't know if we're in iTunes. Jesus Christ!
iTunes.
I don't know if we're even in iTunes. I know that we're on Apple Podcasts, but I don't know if that's the same thing as being in iTunes. But I know iTunes algorithm is better than everybody else's, apparently. And so if you get a lot of ratings and reviews there, then it's really helpful. But I don't even know if we're in iTunes now that I think about it. I should maybe check. So yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for listening. We really appreciate it. Do you know the next line?
No, I've forgotten.
We hope you keep listening.
We hope you keep listening.
And we hope you stay sassy.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.